What's going on, guys? Too Low Tony here in my garage. So you can see I flipped the car around. While we're waiting for some parts here, I figured since the build is basically near completion, I would do a quick build breakdown video on it because some people on my Instagram have asked for some. So I just wanted to kind of go over everything on the car here. So I guess we'll start out. To start out here, car is a 2010 Subaru WRX hatchback. The car is lightning red from the factory. It is wrapped in Tiny Bot Vinyl's metal paint Soul Red. So that is this super cool shiny color. So shout out to them for hooking me up with that. Guess we'll go over the exterior first because that's the easiest. The car has a Monster Service wide body kit on it, or fender flares, as people like to complain that it's not a wide body kit. They call it a wide body kit, so I call it a wide body kit. I don't think it really matters. Anyway, another shout out to them. They're another one of my sponsors and hooked me up with that. So looks super good, fits really well. I mean, I think it gives this narrow body WRX just a little bit more kind of aggression to it. I absolutely love the front tire cutouts. Also, this thing's aired all the way up, so don't mind the trashy fitment. Anyway, roof is wrapped black. Oh, I forgot to mention, All Applied Films in Westminster, Colorado did the wrap. He did a great job. He's a good friend of mine, so if you guys need your car wrapped, check him out for sure. Anyway, going on from there, we'll go to the wing here. This is a blacktop Aero wing. It's basically like a Veris rep, I guess. So yeah, it's wrapped too. The blade is carbon fiber on it. Looks super nice. The roof is wrapped black. And then I have the mirror tint on here. I don't know if I'm going to keep that or not, but it's on there for now. So anyway, we'll jump down to the wheels. These wheels right here are GMR. They're not the Mavens. I'll probably put the text on the screen, but they're GMRs. I can't think of the name for some reason. And they are different offsets, I believe, front and rear. Or not offsets. No, so the wheels are 18 by 10 and a half. I want to say +7, but the rear is different because they have 4.5-inch lips and the front has 3.5-inch lips. I'm not sure. I think the offset's the same and the disc on the face is just different. So I want to say they're +7 all the way around. But I wanted to run wider tires in the rear, skinnier in the front since it is rear-wheel drive. But I don't know, I figured if I could fit a 10.5-inch wide wheel in the front, why not, you know? So I just went ahead and left it there. Back of the car, the taillights here are completely stock. They do come clear from the factory. It does have a bumper cut, as you can see right there. I cut out the stock diffuser. We're going to be getting something for that really shortly. I'm super excited about. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it for the exterior of this car. Actually, these are 05 Legacy GT mirrors that I put on years ago. So they're not STI mirrors. They're a little bit bigger, and then the lights in a different spot on them, but they're painted black. I thought they looked cool, and it was kind of a cool different touch as opposed to the regular mirrors. I figure I'll keep teasing you guys and go to the interior instead of the engine. Interior, not a ton done to it. These door panels are getting kind of weathered, so definitely need to do something about those soon. But door panels are all stock, dash is stock and everything. Stock seats for now until I figure out exactly what I want to do. Steering wheel is a Vertex Speed steering wheel with a NRG short hub. The dash here is a Haltech IC7 dash with a Mako Motorsport, what do you call it, mount. So, oh, my battery's disconnected right now, but it looks super cool. The mount is super, super clean and looks super factory. I don't have my shifter relocation piece on yet because I'm waiting for it to get machined. So the shifter looks like it's in a weird spot there because it is. but that piece is factory. Using a STI center console so that I can use P&L Motorsports Hellcat keypad mount. It's another one of my sponsors, so huge shout out to P&L Motorsport as well as Hellcat because they also helped me out a bit on this. For the dash, we have an iDoing head unit that I've had in the car for years, and that basically sums up the front half of the car. I'm using the stock Subaru gas pedal for some of you that might be wondering. As for the back of the car, I took the back seats out. I don't really ever drive with anybody in my car with me besides my wife anyway, so I don't really care to have 4 seats in here. So we've got, the car's on airlift suspension, so we got 2 compressors. I think it's a 5 or 7 gallon tank there. I think it's 7. So yeah, that's that setup. Battery is mounted in the back as well as the airlift controller. And then it's kind of dark in here, but right there we have a radium dual hanger fuel pump. So we have 2 Hellcat 525 liter per hour fuel pumps in this thing using the stock fuel tank for now. And we'll see how it does on gas until then. Still gonna keep you guys waiting on the engine there. Let's talk about rear suspension. So this car is using a stock rear subframe. I have it's a stock sway bar for now. D4 Performance made me these custom solid subframe bushings that you can see right there. So those are super cool. The Cobb diff mounts in there. Obviously, like I said, airlift performance struts. Stock diffed axles for now, but there will be a Ford 8.8 going under this thing eventually. As for the arms, we've got Racer X upper arms, Racer X toe arms, and then the bottom arms. Why can I not think of the name? Can't think of the name. You guys will know them by that color. But yeah, those lower control arms there. Like I said, stock diff. Rear brakes are stock rear brakes, so I can eventually put 15-inch beadlock wheels on this thing. So that's why I kept those small. Let's see. The car has a drive shaft in it. Just a normal, like, custom drive shaft. Nothing crazy for now. The transmission is a CTS-V T56. So it's basically a TR6060 case with T56 internals into it, so it's not quite as strong, but I will build it when it does break, because it inevitably will. So, I mean, I got a great deal on it. It worked, it fit, so went ahead and sent it. Front of the car here. We'll start out with the engine bay, completely shaved and tubbed and wire tucked to this engine bay. So I did all these tubs myself, bodyworked them, painted them with, you could see here, this tropical glitz, custom colors, galactic silver, and then 2K clear in a can over it. I want to wet sand it all and buff it soon, but I'm waiting until it's not covered in dust. So yeah, shaved the engine bay, did all that. D4 Performance made me these super cool, these are strut tower covers, so you can unbolt these and it comes off if you need to adjust your dampening or whatever. Just kind of cleans things up, not being able to see the top of the airlift struts. They're like kind of bright red, so if I ever do wrap this car a different color, they'll really stand out. He also made me this wiring, this is where the stock harness for the engine comes through, so it's a wiring plug, kind of like what they do on Hondas. So I sent him some measurements for that. It was super, super cool that thing is just kind of a little bit homage to Hondas, because that's the first imports I ever started out with. All right, another thing here from D4 Performance. This is a catch can swirl pot combo. So this side of it holds coolant for my blower, and the lines here, one goes to the bleeder off the back of the blower, and then this other one here goes to the tank on the bottom, just to get air out of both of those, and it'll fill through there. I mean, it's just a fill line basically, so it doesn't need any flow through it, so it's just dash 4AN stuff. The other half here on the left side is a catch can. It's vacuum operated, so the valve cover on that side, with the little orange tape on it, is going to go up here. And then this one right here is going to go to the supercharger snout to pull vacuum. And then right here, this guy is going to go to the valve cover breather there as a fresh air inlet. So that's kind of the catch can setup we've got going on this thing here. Brake booster delete here from Chase Bays. One, gives a lot more room, and then it also, your brakes are going to have a lot more consistent feel, and it looks a lot nicer in a car with a shaved engine bay. So, you know, this isn't a track car or anything. I don't necessarily need crazy brakes, you know, and I mean, people put those in track cars all the time, so it will work completely fine. While we're talking about brakes, in the front here, these are CTSV Brembos. So I got the swap kit from ctsvbrakeswap.com. Not a sponsor, just cool product. So throw those on there. They're a lot cheaper than the STI Brembos. So, I mean, they work great. It's still a 4-piston caliper. And then you can even upgrade these to a ZR1 6-piston caliper, which would be super cool to maybe do in the future if they'll clear my wheels. Hell Performance is sending me brake lines. That's one of the main parts that I'm waiting on. It's just to get those made. It will have a line lock and everything in it. Right there, Chase Bay's reservoir on a Willwood clutch Slave Master with a D4 Performance adapter kit. So makes it bolt to the firewall in the Subaru, and it's super cool. This fuse box here, Isaiah at RPM Denver made that for me. It's super cool. It's basically all of the, I took all the engine stuff out of the original fuse box that sits right here, and I just kept, basically it's just the body stuff, so it's like the lights and stuff like that fuses, and I made it fit into there, and he made this box for me and welded it up. It's got a little 2 screws there, and this just slides off so you can change your fuses or whatever you need to do. So that is a super cool little custom touch there. Just kind of cleaned up the engine bay a lot more. Blacked out headlight housings. Had those for a long time. I'm probably going to end up getting rid of them. I do want to do a headlight intake on this one since the airbox tube sits behind it. But, I mean, that's for later. This custom bash bar here is also made by Isaiah at RPM. So, he made the bar, and then I came home and I made these 2 mounts for the inner chiller system and tacked them on. He fully welded them. I had it powder coated, and everything kind of mounts off of it. So it's super nice. Almost to the engine stuff. Let's go over the inner chiller system real quick, since that is kind of the last few things on the body. We got that, and then we'll go over the subframe and front suspension. So inner chiller system, here's from FI Inner Chillers. Basically uses AC Freon to chill the blower coolant. So it gives you super low intake air temps, and yeah, just keeps everything running super efficient. So we got that extra fan here on front of the condenser, and then we have a Peerdberg CWA 400 pump on there to move the coolant. And if we come over here, a little bit tight, but right here is I believe it's a 1.5 gallon tank that's mounted, and it just comes off the pump right there, and coolant goes into there, shoots up to the blower and whatnot. So nice little tank, tight spot to fit everything, especially when I'm not trying to put stuff in the engine bay and kind of ruin the clean aesthetic. I know it doesn't look super clean right now with all the hoses going everywhere and everything, but it will, trust me. Last thing here behind the bumper is this fuse box. This fuse box is for all 3 of my fans, this pump, and the AC compressor right there that is running that chiller system as well. So I think that's everything behind the bumper. So last thing we have before we get to the engine, which is what everybody wants to see, is the front suspension. So this car has a TSS Fab swap subframe in it. So it's a V8 swap subframe, bolts right into the car. I mean, in reality, you could do 90% of this swap without having to weld, especially using the stock diff and stuff. Like you really, a lot of this is bolt-in, so I joke around calling it my bolt-on Subaru. But obviously a lot of this stuff wasn't bolted on, like the base shave and the radiator and all that. So yeah, TSS fab, swap subframe there. Airlift Performance front struts, like I said. I have the WRX lower control arms. So this front subframe drops the entire suspension geometry 3 inches. And having this car also lowered and bagged, basically it's like this thing has like an insane like 8-inch drop on it. So that's where the front gets all its camber from. Doesn't look that bad right now, aired all the way up, but I'm going to probably chop and shorten the lower control arms just to bring that in so it doesn't have a bunch of camber. Because, I mean, I used to be a stance kid, but not really anymore. And plus, it kind of looks like a drift car, the way that's all cambered out in the front, and then the rear is basically stood straight up, as you can see, for the most amount of grip that I can get. So, yeah, we got that. I'm going to get the WRX sway bar end links for it. Stock steering rack and everything to fit it. Like I said, it lowers it 3 inches. You have to extend, a little bit hard to see, your steering shaft here. So extended that a little bit to make it fit. And I mean, everything else pretty much bolts right onto it. It's super nice. It's got a little brace in the back there you can kind of see. So, oh, I forgot to mention for the trans mount, nobody makes a bolt-in T56 mount for this car yet. I think TSS Fab is working on it, but I'm not sure. So I took their existing T56 mount, which I think is for an 07 like body style STI. And the front bolts lined up, but the rear bolts didn't really line up right. So I just kind of like, I bolted the front bolts in. I had to use some spacers because it would hit like a bump that kind of came out. So it's got like an inch spacer on all the bolts, which is fine. It sits okay. So spacers in the front, and in the rear, I took, I don't think I have any laying around, but I took some like 1-inch diameter tube, welded nuts into the inside of it for a thread, and then I basically cut it to match the sides of the body, whatever angle it was at, and welded it to the body, and then the back just bolts into that. So that's kind of how I mounted the rear trans part there. Using a C6 Corvette slave cylinder, and the CTS-V trans makes everything a little bit weird, so I had to have a 1/4-inch bell housing spacer in there to get the input shaft to fit correctly into the back of the engine. But regardless, everything works great, goes into gear. I drove it down the block this morning, just using the e-brake to kind of flip it around, but I mean, it seems to be happy so far. So now we're going to talk about the radiator real quick, and then we'll talk about the engine. So radiator here is a CSF triple pass radiator. I believe it's designed, it's supposed to be for BMWs. It had AN fittings on the side where you could see right here. So we cut those off, capped it. RPM did that for me. And then we welded ORB fittings to accept whatever on the front here. So I've got those ORB fittings in case I ever want to swap out to just a normal hose or not. And then Hell Performance -20 AN lines here for the top and bottom hose. Works super good. So we got those out of the way. Radiator mount and the like lower radiator support and stuff is all custom made by me. Same for the mount bars for this, and everything is all made by me. And then I also made this upper mount here, which is pretty simple. Basically, it's just an L bent piece with one more bend in it. Bolts at the top of this, and then bolts right here through the shroud holes, and holds everything on real nice. That's a little loose, so we need to tighten that. And then we have a Summit Racing radiator shroud that I kind of trimmed to fit and then sealed the best I could with 2 fans on it. I can't remember exactly what fans, but yeah. All right, last thing I want to talk about here is what everybody's been waiting for, the engine setup in this car. So this is a LS3 block. I mean, basically it's technically not a real LS. It's out of a Yukon, but it is an aluminum block. So, I mean, it's a 6.2 aluminum LS based engine basically. So I call it an LS. Bully me if you want. Anyway, yeah, so 6.2 LS, LS3. It has a Summit Racing 4-inch stroke crank in it and Summit Racing Pro LS rods and pistons. So it's built for 1,200 crank horsepower. I don't think this car needs anywhere near that, but I wanted to kind of overbuild it a little bit. And I mean, it's not going to put the power down, but it'll be a fun car to drive around and makes a lot of people smile. So that's what matters. Stock 823 heads on it. Basically just did springs in it, pulled the valves out, lapped the valves, put them back in, titanium retainers on the springs and everything. And then we put a BTR stage 4 PDS blower camshaft in this thing. So that is what kind of the long block, I suppose, would be. Oil pan, you have to use a front sump with the TSS fab frame. So it's a Sickie front sump swap pan. We got a Melling high output oil pan or oil pump on this thing. Makes like 90 psi of oil pressure at idle, so plenty of oil pressure, 100%. Figure we'll talk about while we're talking about oil. Oil lines come out and go into this Motion Race Works, or I guess technically it's Fluid Works now. Oil filter adapter relocation kind of thing with a 51060R racing filter on there. I used that for my oil pressure sensor right there. CT billet valley cover. I think I have some pictures of underneath with the blower off. If I can find them, I'll put them on there, or if it'll work, because the last video I did not want to let me put some stuff on for some reason. But yeah, ICT billet valley cover, Fluid Works fuel regulator mount and regulator right there. So everything runs underneath the blower straight back with the return line, and then goes back right down next to those two feed lines that come up. It's got a Radium Engineering filter on it, and then 4 Innovations FC2 fuel controller for the pumps and everything. Lines run up into the back of the rails, out of the front of the rails, into the regulator, and then returns. So super simple fuel system there. It's plenty for my power. Everything's ran in dash 8. So, I mean, I've seen cars at my job make 1,200 horsepower in dash 8, so should be plenty of fuel. So, while we're talking about fuel, we got 4 Innovations fuel rails here on the blower. They're for Hellcat, obviously. We have Hellcat ID 1300 injectors in here. Obviously, the harness is the Haltech Rebel LS harness because that's the ECU I'm running. So I just kind of ran it as clean as possible. Shout out to Camco Callis for letting me come to his shop and kind of ran me through the clean way to run the harness. Obviously, with all these hoses going everywhere, it doesn't look as clean, like I said, but it all will be cleaned up. I just didn't want it spraying oil all over my firewall when I was running it. But anyway, onto the front rotating assembly accessory drive kind of thing here. Stand-in, SD7, AC compressor. All my accessory mounts are from ICT Billet. Huge shout out to them. They're another one of my partners on this. So ICT Billet AC compressor mount, ICT Billet alternator mount, ICT Billet power steering pump mount. Everything is ICT Billet as far as the accessory drive goes. I'm running a CTSV water pump here, obviously with the AN stuff welded onto it by RPM. Stock tensioner here for the accessory belt, stock tensioner for the supercharger belt, but everything is converted to 10 rib with the DMS tuning 10 rib kit. Got a 9.7 inch lower pulley, and then a I think it's a 2.95 inch upper pulley here, also from RPM. So yeah, and then we got the billet tensioner mount here because the rotor pack is really heavy in these and it can flex the stock bracket. So super strong one there. Um, let's see, what else do we got here? I believe that's pretty much it. We'll go over the exhaust real quick. This is a temporary exhaust setup just with some teardrops to, you know, be obnoxious. I do have other plans for an exhaust that you guys will eventually see, but for now it just lets me idle the car and run it, drive it down the street, whatever I need to do. So that's why that's there. ICT billet plug wires run through the firewall, and right behind my radio is where all my coil packs are mounted. This car doesn't have AC or anything inside, so underneath the dash is completely stripped basically. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, we'll go into the blower. RPM gave me the blower for this car, so huge shout out to them. That's what makes this car what it is, as far as I'm concerned, is the Hellcat supercharger on top of the LS. So obviously FabWorks supercharger adapters are another one of my partners, and Aaron is a super cool guy. Kind of helped out a little bit with some of the measurements on this hub here for him, and I mean, he helped out a bunch on this. So FabWorks adapters, we got a FabWorks bypass valve here. This is a Joker's ported blower, so it is not a stock supercharger. We have a 108 millimeter Nick Williams throttle body on it to match the port. And then the lid is set up for nitrous, but obviously I'm not running nitrous at this time. It's also set up for meth injection. Not running meth, it's on ED5, so I do not really need that for what I'm doing. So yeah, I mean, that's the blower setup. Intake is made by RPM Denver as well. Just real simple 4.5-inch tube to a filter right here. And then I made a little cardboard cutout for this, brought it back to them, and they made it, and it mounts to a stock spot, and it's incredibly sturdy. So don't think it's going anywhere. Yeah, I mean, I think that's basically the entire rundown of the build. I mean, yeah, stripped back half and LS swapped with a Hellcat supercharger, 3-piece wheels, all tubular suspension underneath, powder coated everything. The bumper is outside in my boat, so I can have room to film this right now, but I mean, stock bumper on it. We got some aero parts coming. Got these AVS windshield or window rain visors, I guess you'd call them. But I mean, otherwise, I think I kind of went over everything. So super simple. Just figured I would kind of come out and tell you guys about it. Figured you guys would want to know a little bit more about the build. I'm kind of slacked on some of the recording, but I'm trying to get a lot better at it. So figured I would run you guys through some of the stuff that you haven't seen on this car. So that is the build breakdown of my WRX here. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to keep seeing videos on this thing, please subscribe. I'm trying to get this video or this channel to the point where I can monetize it, and every watch time and subscriber helps. And obviously monetizing the videos would help me build this car a little bit faster for you guys, because it is very expensive and I'm doing this all on my own. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe, and see you guys in the next one.